What's up, guys? Welcome to a new video. So as you guys know, I'm a bit of a film buff, and so I wanted to talk about what's going on with Marvel, DC, and kind of the, I guess, issues that people have with them or the fatigue that's been going around. So basically, Marvel movies ever since Endgame have not been doing so hot. There's definitely some diamonds in there, but for the most part, they've been a lot worse than people remember them being. And so we have movies like Guardians of the Galaxy that did really well, the Volume 3. Shang-Chi did really well, but then we also have a couple of stinkers like Miss Marvel that just happened, the fourth Thor movie. And so there's been a lot of discourse over where their Marvel has fell off. I don't know if I would say all that. Now, I'm definitely not as into Marvel as I used to be. I don't really, buy tickets ahead of time to make sure I have seats in theater, things like that. I'm not, going to see the movies in the first weekend like I used to. And so there's definitely a bit of fatigue that I have gone through because Disney Plus has really soured my taste. And that just more so comes with the amount of content that they're shoving down my throat. I feel like in order to watch these newest films, I have to watch 18 hours worth of shows that are on Disney Plus and things that I don't really care too much about in order to understand what's going on in these films. I think that in and of itself has been a huge detriment to Marvel. Now, that being said, there's definitely some usefulness to that, and that's a big proponent of Loki. Loki was one of the Marvel shows that I really enjoyed. I think it did a really good job with the character. And now that we got to see Loki's entire arc, I'm not sure if the character is completely done. I hope not. I think he could be really useful in the new Avengers Secret Wars or just further down the timeline. But I think a character like that got a ton of on-screen time and was really able to be fleshed out. Now, with these other films that haven't done so hot in the box office, I think there's a lot of discussion around whether the films themselves were just bad, whether Disney Plus is the reason why these films didn't do so hot. Was it just people not going to theaters anymore? Movie theaters have kind of bounced back a little bit ever since the pandemic, but even then, they're definitely not what they used to be. People are used to the stay at home, wait for the films to drop on streaming services, and just watch them at home. And now that streaming service prices are jumping back up, Netflix is 20 something dollars now. People are starting to understand, maybe having these streaming services isn't worth it, especially having a ton of them. Me personally, I have several different services that I watch for different things, and there's some that I haven't even touched, but I still keep them, and I'm getting charged every month. But realistically, at this point, the costs are basically almost what cable used to cost, and a lot of times people are starting to kind of understand that these films, with all the budget they have and all the money that's being poured into them, there's not a lot of actual storytelling there. And I think that's a major part of what's going on in Hollywood. Hollywood, unfortunately, recently has kind of shifted from being primarily storytelling to primarily financial based. These films are trying to make money first before they're trying to tell a good story. That's not every film, obviously. I think Killers of the Flower Moon, Scorsese's most recent film, was a testament to what the power of storytelling can do. And now he is one of our GOATs. So he has the green light to make any film he wants, essentially. But a lot of these studios are worried that, the 50, 100, 200 million that they're pouring into these films are not going to be recouped. And so they're banking on nostalgia or remakes of remakes of remakes to try and hope that they can gather as many people to go into these theaters and watch these films. And some of them do all right. I think Top Gun Maverick is a perfect example of this. That movie did fantastic. But tons of these remakes and nostalgia-based films are doing horribly. Most recently, I just saw a trailer for the new Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Why are we remaking that classic? That movie does not need to be remade. Will Smith, Angelina Jolie bodied that role. And now we have Childish Gambino, and forgive me, I can't remember the actress's name, but I just don't see a reason to remake that film. And maybe it's great. Maybe they do a good job and it's a fantastic film, but odds are not on their side, and I'm expecting one to be a bit of a flop, unfortunately. But on the other hand, I think indie films have really shined. My favorite film or indie film of this past year was Past Lives and Poor Things, which I thought were both fantastic films that definitely did not get the spotlight they deserved. The Holdovers, just recently released Christmas film, fantastic film. All three of these films are amazing and definitely did not get the critical acclaim that they should have. But unfortunately for these major blockbusters, the Marvels, the DCs, just Warner, Disney, etc., they're all trying to recoup their costs. And now going back to Marvel and what their issues are, a lot of their movies have been kind of stuck in between this comedy and dramatic, action storytelling kind of circle that they've been in. Marvel was known for being able to enter a little comedy into their films at just the right moments that it kind of worked with the storyline. You didn't feel like it was forced in or shoehorned in. But recently, a lot of these Marvel films have been just dumping just massive amounts of comedy into like very dramatic scenes where it was not warranted in the slightest. And I think a major proponent of that is Thor: Love and Thunder, which is horrendous. Taika Waititi was able to shift Thor's character, who was really kind of laughed at because his films weren't that great, but Thor Ragnarok was fantastic. And then they gave him, I guess, a longer leash in Love and Thunder, and it was rough. Now, there's a way to come back from this. And I think Marvel's kind of realized that. They've delayed and canceled a ton of things. And so they're going back to the storyboard to figure out what's going on. I'm glad they're taking their time. And I think people will come back to theaters once Marvel has kind of slowed down, taken a beat, and kind of tried to reprocess what they're doing. Because if people remember, Phase 1 was not that good. It was okay. Iron Man was a fantastic film. The first Captain America film was solid. But a lot of those, The Incredible Hulk wasn't, and the first Avengers movie is a good film, but it's definitely nothing crazy, So Phase 1 definitely did not start off on, the hottest feet, or on a hot foot, whatever. But as they kind of got through the phases, it got significantly better. And so hopefully, after a few more, films or a few more years, they'll kind of get back to it. And so this kind of applies to what DC, they're doing a hard reset. And I'm excited to see what they can bring to the table. They did let go of Henry Cavill, which I didn't like, because I actually loved Henry Cavill as Superman. I never thought that any of the movies that he was in that I didn't like were his fault. Man of Steel, so a fantastic superhero movie. Batman vs Superman is not a good film. More so has to do with the script than it does, with the acting. But I'm excited to see what they can do, and I hope that means Henry Cavill will go back to The Witcher. Even though I don't like The Witcher as a show, because I think the script is very unfaithful to the books. I'm a massive Witcher fan, so I feel obligated to watch it, and I would rather watch it with Henry Cavill than I would without him, if that makes any sense. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about film. How deep are you into that film world? Are you on Letterboxd? If you are, then you're deep. But yeah, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Hit subscribe. I'm working on a few videos in the future, so this year's going to be a little busy. Other than that, I'll see you guys later. Peace.